All right. Here we go again. Buckle up. Another storm front coming through. Just as I was attempting to get into the gym, sat in a car to let it to ride it out. It did kind of slow down a little bit, but kind of a strange day. I see your ICE is making, or the Justice Department, I guess, or ICE or DHS. I guess DHS made requirements for politicians to contact anybody from within inside the facility, and that's true. It does require a release. Now that Afghan interpreter, I understand he's still housed within the U.S. You got to look at that case. I don't know what that is. Apparently, his brother was able to uh, obtain a special amnesty or whatever it was. All right. So I guess there's some movement in Muscat, Oman. I don't know if they're looking for peace or looking to bug out and just never go back to Iran. Are they evacuations or is it a peace attempt at a ceasefire peace thing? I was under the impression they were going to bug out to Russia, but correct. But I thought something was off on the defense of Israel there. Even before, it didn't seem like you were removing the right pieces parts. I see you're adjusting that. I told you all along it wasn't the Iron Dome alone that did it. Right. Right. For all we know, you got rid of the architects of it. I don't know. They're firing people here and there willy nilly. I mean, told you to be careful. Right. I guess it's Juneteenth coming up here. A lot of intense emotions both ways on that. Right. I'm just on a short walk tonight, like 20 minutes. I got to get back into the rigmarole. Had a nice study with the missionaries today. Just so sad that I didn't know to join that church earlier. Right. I mean, it would have been fabulous 20 years ago. Right. Right. But like, if you really realize what's going on, like, so I always knew something was up with our name, like the name before we came to the United States. But there was no opening, you know. So when you go into the LDS, they start asking about genealogy and all that. So I contacted my brother because he had done a little study on our family, and he had most of the information, but he never paid the money to verify the stuff, you know. Right. So again, Samuel Moore was, you know, Shmuel Moshe, right? Changed his name to fit in. But on the Bennett side, they changed their name a couple of times because they were like Benedicti or something like that. I forget. I have it at home. But that was Baruch. There's the direct translation. Like Bennett is not a direct translation for, you know, Baruch, you know, but Benedicti or whatever it is a right direct translation. Who knows when they changed that one? Could have been centuries, right? Well, they were killing. Jews were kind of shell shocked during that era, you know, because you know they'd kill them in a second. Like it's just like black people, you know, like like they say the black guy did it. Like a woman gets raped or something, the black guy did it, you know. Back in early 1900s, and they just lynch him, you know, and like go and kill like 50 black people because somebody said something, you know, right? Even who knows if she was even raped, you know, right? So you do that to Jewish people and stuff. They say, you know, somebody was killed, the Jewish guy did it, and then they go kill all the Jewish people and put them in ghettos. And then they'd get out at a certain point, and, you know, like 20 years later, everybody be back to, you know, not still normal. So really, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania was the first government to actually afford real rights to them. Right? Russia may have had it under the what was it called? Oh, and I can't remember what it was called. Well, it wasn't. We're the like not oligarchs, but where the royalty actually represented people. I don't think it was a democracy, but it was right where the wealthy would represent the poor or something like that, or it may have been a democracy. I'm not sure. The Kremlin, actually, yeah, the original Kremlin, right? They may have fallen under that thing as having some rights. Maybe that's why they were in Russia earlier on. But then the Tsar, right? Then the Tsar started killing them, right? So they just try to change their names to fit in, you know, right? So there's a possibility that we are related to Moses, Aaron, right? And I think Baruch is one of the royal names, if I'm not mistaken, a link to royalty, which is a link to, you know, Moses and Aaron, right? Would be that also, right? There's another name, the Bronze. I'm not sure where that goes. Right. But I think Braunstein is actually. I think that might be the Cohen one. I'm not sure. Yeah, he called me Lawrence Moore, right? My name is actually Lion, and I was the guy I was named like in Jewish families. They named me after Leib Moshe. Like I think the guy's name was Leib Moshe. So Lawrence Moore, Leib Moshe. I think it was that. So that's how he translated it. I'm not sure where that. I think that was Lithuania, maybe in Romania, but I'm not sure. And he actually traced this to the Ukraine. But we called it Russia back then. Right. If I'm not mistaken. They're saying like the Litvak religious authority knew my family. I don't know if that's true. Back in Lithuania. Thank you, Larry. I guess if we were magic people, they may have known, you know. So like my grandmother and I were having conversations inside. I never knew. Right. It's just so crazy. Yeah. It was absolute proof. She would start conversations that I knew about, like in the middle of the conversation, just come out and say something, and I never said anything to her about any of it. She never told me about anything. She had magic. That's how she made all money in the stock market. Right. And she showed it to me one time, but I was already out of the government. She was already like flaming me too. It's just they're hearing BS in their head, right? Right. Thanks. And like one time I had a conversation, I didn't even know what I was saying. You lied to me. Maybe not Hashem speaking to her through me, right? But you lied to me, Bubby. We went to, I forget what it was, maybe one of her birthday parties while I was still in the area. And she just started in on me. And I'm like, you lied to me, Bubby. I had no idea what I was saying, actually. But I already woke up. So I know it was pertinent to something. She went right, it went towards the end, but when she was getting older and she realized the end was near, she called me. I called her, I talked to her or something. She's on the phone. And I hadn't talked to her in years because she was just going to try to destroy me if I stayed around her. And she said, "What's going to come of me, Larry? What's going to become of me?" Because Bobby, she's not really a spiritual person. She's right. I said, "Well, the worst it'll be, Bubby, is you'll have to go to Bubby school." That'll be her hell. She have to go to Bubby school. Be like a what does they call that? Purgatory. So Hashem gives me a vision, and Bubby's got a rifle, and she's in Bubby body, and she has to like the low crawl you do in basic training under the it's kind of I think it was muddy, I can't remember, but you have to low crawl under the wire, the low wire, and all that. Bubby has to do that because she didn't appreciate me. So the afterlife is kind of funny. So as long as you're not like a devil or something. All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Am I still attractive or something? It just makes sense. Why is she looking at woman looking at me? Or is it a setup? Yeah. So yeah. So Hashem leans that stuff to the left. I didn't put any. But I noticed I didn't put any like lamb's butt on the lentil. I guess the lentil, right around the Ten Commandments. But I don't know. I'm not into lamb's blood really. Thank you. So I bought that Jewish cup to wash your hands. Cost me like almost $100. Nothing else would work with the cheap. But I got a cheaper the bowl that you pour it into. That was cheaper. Got a good deal on that. But it fell, I guess. It got scraped right down the middle that you look at. Where the two handles are, kind of. So I was going to put a Shaddai for a menorah on there, but I'm thinking if it came from the United States, I wouldn't. I got to order it from the United Kingdom. It's a Shaddai, straight up and down, gold. But I don't know if, like I was thinking, if I tap it with a hammer, I might be able to put that round in there. But I don't know if I can. But it looks like Hashem wants me to buy They make these flexible lion onlays, so I think it's going to be a lion head that goes in there. I just paint it gold. Well, I gotta wait a long time till the thing gets here, and they don't even know if it's going to work. Right. I have some letters where I could spell Shaddai. Actually, I just could use a shin because I think the letters are too big to fit the full Shaddai. But I'd have to paint them gold, and I just not getting a positive feeling with that. But they were asking, the missionaries were asking, so they were asking, so what may have changed in your life, right? It was always unfolding, but at this point, well, I don't believe any religion is the end goal for anybody. I believe there's something higher than, and God alludes to that. There's something higher than religion. Correct. I call that the created state of being, the original created state of being, whatever that was and is. Well, because you don't need religion, because you can talk to God in your head. You can talk to God just by talking. This is kind of the way I live. Right now, I'm still in on the hellish planet that this is, but actually, I went over 20 minutes here. Once I got going, it was a little bit easier to walk. Boy, I had a big block on it. They were wheeling me down. That's why when I got here, a big storm. Oh, it's raining. No, I have a separation thing from anxiety, being separated from God, but it doesn't like until God really connects to me, it doesn't hit me. But as soon as God like really goes, boom, I'm like, oh, it sucks being here. Well, God likes me enough to call me his friend, I guess, or name me the angel as his friend. Right. Thank you, Larry. I don't ask me. It's God's stuff. God kind of created me as an advisor, I think. It doesn't make sense, right? Because it all comes from God anyway. Oh, actually, it does make sense, right? Because when God enters the existence, he's dumbed down. But I'm God's advisor at times. So it's like a channel. He channels it through me. Well, God don't play by your rules, but again, it's not going to go the way you all want it to go. Yeah, I mean, when you read that little blurb about Shia Islam back when it was, the beginning century of it, you realize that these people here today are BS. Because Christianity is the same way. It says a bunch of stuff, but right. So I'm still using that Shure MVI here. A little less people here now, but boy, there was a ton of people here earlier. Absolute ton of people. All right, so inflation could still happen even though it didn't happen. Well, because well, we are like right, but it's just because we might be in a recession, so that could be why inflation or entering a recession. So that could be why inflation didn't happen. But I mean, it could be valid. But I mean, you're all yeah, you all boast about things a little bit too soon, right? I mean, it could be working, but I would have waited before I said anything. Correct. And then you're saying we're making all this money off tariffs. If people find that life isn't comfortable for them, they're going to say, "Oh, you're making money. That's great, the government." But what about us, right? So you just kind of hold off, and then who knows? You might like last time you had to put it into some of the farmers. You might have to put it into some sort of community of people. Right? But then again, maybe not. I saw a strange news article. It tried to insinuate that Americans would work when these people would be, deported because the where they had one of those big raids on one of the food service places or food preparation, whatever it was. There was a bunch of people in line applying for jobs, but like towards the end of the news article, it said, "Well, but most of them speak Spanish." So I think they're trying to be facetious or whatever, right? Well, the other immigrants are coming to try to get the jobs. I don't know why they would, but maybe they have some legitimacy. All right, it stopped at 30 minutes. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God.